You're listening to the Absolutely Cosmic Podcast.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Absolutely Cosmic Podcast, where we talk about anything and everything self-improvement from the nerdy perspective. I'm your host, Joshua Salgado, and today we have a special requested topic. How does fitness change your mindset, mentality, and mental health? That's a good one. And I want to thank you, Madison, my girlfriend, for requesting me for this excellent topic that I should have thought to make a video on because it's influenced my life in a positive way. Like, without a doubt, there's no debate, there's no philosophy behind it. The first segment that I want to talk about regarding this is just stress management. I have noticed that my personal stress goes down when I'm consistently exercising. And I want to, first of all, define what is stress. Well, let's, I guess, define it more in the terms of anxiety. Stress kind of falls into it too. Alex Hormozy says it best. I reference this guy way too much. One day I'm going to get him on the podcast. One day, when we're building this up, one day I'm going to have him on and be able to pick his brain and be like, dude, I literally quote you all the time. But he says that anxiety and stress come from knowing what we need to do and not taking action. And I think that is a beautifully said quote, but I want to add to it. I think sometimes not knowing what you need to do in life is also a huge factor. Not knowing what you need to do in a situation is a huge factor of anxiety. That unknown is excuse me, wow, that was like stroke moment. It inspires that fight or flight mechanism that as humans, as animals, right, that we have, right? If we don't know what to do, we're going to be stressed out because evolutionarily, I guess, or from our ancestors, that meant that we could die, that we would starve, that we wouldn't be able to survive that next step, that next flow of life, right? So that's why I think we still carry that anxiety, is because it's the same thing as when you don't know what to do, right? From that perspective, it starts to ravel you up. But then additionally, if you know what you need to do and you procrastinate and you put it off, you get stressed out, right? Everyone does. So, and I'm going to take a quick drink. Ghost, listen, I love your drinks. So, God, I'm terrible at this. This is crazy today. This is my fourth take, just so you guys know. I literally bumped a little cord on my camera and it literally stopped recording and I was on a roll. So let's get back to it. So let's get back into it though. So why is it that exercise helps destroy stress, right? Remove stress for a temporary time, because it's a Band-Aid essentially. It's a Band-Aid. Like, fitness is good, working out is excellent, but when it comes to stress management, that is a Band-Aid or is a management tool, right, for your daily stresses. The reason that is because while you're not solving the problem, you're breaking down the emotion that is tied to the problem. Now, let me explain. What is Stoicism, right? So Stoicism, in short, right, there's a lot of Greek and Roman philosophers, Marcus Aurelius being like one of the most famous ones, but Stoicism is kind of this ideology, right, coined by these ancient philosophers and theorists, right, that by taking your personal action and separating it from your emotion, you become a better person. By not feeling heavy set emotions and acting upon them, you become better. So if I reduce how I act upon my emotion, right? If I become balanced and articulate in my decision making without the weighing of emotion, I will become a better decision maker, right? I will make better decisions. Look at it from a sales perspective. So I work part-time at a gym. They want you, they've taught me how to sell memberships and personal training. But any sales position, any person that's good at sales knows that there's two of the biggest things. You want to be trustworthy, right? That's the baseline, right? You want to be as trustworthy and as real as possible, right? With your customer, with the people that you're trying to sell to. I hate the word trying to sell to. This could be a whole nother episode in the podcast about sales. But number two is try to evoke an emotion. And when it comes to fitness, we usually have them focus on their goals and what they want out of fitness, right? So when you realize that emotions lead to selling things, right, leads to decision making, right? Most people decide to do things based on their emotions. So to combat this, fitness, I think, is an excellent way, right? If you can sit there and exercise, right, and take that emotion, break down that maybe heavy set, maybe a bad day at work, you go work out, maybe you have high level of emotion in terms of life stresses, right, or decisions that you have to make. But by breaking that down, you're able to further grow, like become a well-rounded individual and make a better decision towards that goal, right? Your anxiety may break down for a period of time, thus you not feeling so stressed out about it, which means you can make a decision. So that is what I mean by balancing work stresses. I think most people would understand it by me just saying you can manage life stress through working out. But I think defining it fully and going in depth and understanding the philosophy of behind it, right, can help us integrate that into other aspects of just not just work-life stress, but if we're going to make a decision, right? And when going back into sales, right, or going back into maybe spending money or making a large decision, maybe you're starting a business and you're stressed out about making, a business decision, right? And it's just you. Well, first of all, I always recommend having that one person in your life that'll be critical and keep you accountable. But two, maybe go work out beforehand so you're not having that jitter, that anxiety right now. And then come back. Give yourself time to stew. And most times when you're working out, you're thinking about what should you do, right? You're thinking about things, but you're in a clearer state because your brain's focusing on surviving through on that spin bike or on that Stairmaster or on that bench press or on that squat rack, right? You're not fully just sitting there stewing in the emotion. You're stewing in the proper decision making, at least for me. That's what works for me is if I don't know what to do or I'm stressed out or there's a million options in front of me and it's not something that's live or die, which barely anything in life is ever going to be live or die, I go and work out. Why is I go on a run. If I notice that I'm getting too excitable, like I'm getting anxious and excited in my future, wow, like this is great, like this thing that happened, or I get to make these decisions, right, of whatever, right? I'm like, okay, let's go on a run. Let's go to the gym. This is the perfect segment to just break off that emotion. If I'm getting stressed out from editing a bunch of videos in the morning, what do? I go and work out because I want to break down any sort of high level emotion, right? To reduce that level of stress, right? And that is how I manage my stress because I'm an excitable person, as you can see me screaming into the camera. So and this is why I'm kind of going into this, because if you understand the theory behind something, you can better understand how to use it in different frames, another Alex Hormozyism that I'm picking up, but use it in other perspectives, other styles, right? Other ways, right? Other implications. You can multifaceted this philosophy, right? So that you understand that it's not just weightlifting that manages stress because you're angry and you got to burn fuel like a bull or something. Like, no, let's break it down and get a wide macro scale. That's what I love, macro scale of things, right? I love seeing systems and talking about large scale stuff. I love talking about operation, strategy, philosophy at a larger scale because then when you discuss things at a larger scale or understand things at a bit of a larger scale, you can then always cut in, right? Like if I take a wide scale picture, I can always crop it to get a closer look at something, right? So in that regard, I think that is the most important thing to look at it when it comes to this stress management tool. Don't just think of it as a stress management like therapy bullshit. Think of it as a way to potentially change how you make decisions. Now, that is the first half or the first third of what I wanted to talk about. The second thing that I wanted to discuss was the confidence that I gained in life. Because this one might be a little bit shorter because it's a little more common sense. So you think that like from, and I'm going to tell you a story. Let's start with a story. And I want to start with a story because I think this makes the most sense. Anyone who knows me from high school, they know me quite well, actually, because who I am in high school is pretty much who I am today, just a little more mature and obviously much more experiences. But I've prided myself in trying to be the same goofy, nerdy kid. I just got really into fitness after high school and towards the end of high school, I guess. And on deployment and had the whole military experience and have university, going to university right now. So I've changed, obviously. I've gotten older. I have a mustache now, a good one. I had a terrible one in high school. But in high school, I struggled with self-esteem. So before I got into fitness, I was probably about all of 5 foot, 180, which is only 10 pounds lower than what I weigh about right now. All right. So I was about 5 foot, maybe 4 foot. Like in 8th grade, I was like 4 foot, 11, about 170 to 180. I was a heavier set kid for that height. I needed braces terribly. I got them towards the end of freshman year. But I had this bad gap tooth. Like, think of SpongeBob. Like, I looked like the human version of SpongeBob. I would have these, and I don't want to talk crap about because my dad, we could only afford those haircuts. But I had this haircut where I just basically shaved my head. I called it the Boston cream haircut. It was almost like a buzz cut. I mean, it was honestly, essentially what I got in basic training my entire life up until like senior year, when I decided I'm going to start paying for haircuts myself after working for a little bit. So why am I going into this depth? Because I had, and I still do, I struggle with insecurities, physical insecurities, right? I see myself as the fat kid in the mirror. So let's talk into the darker side. I think that throughout the years, I've gained a significant amount of muscle mass. I'm a little bit more capable than I was in the strength terms back in high school, early high school, right? Obviously, I've gained muscle. I've leaned out, and I'm continually pursuing the track, right? But there's some days where when I look at myself in the mirror, I feel like shit. I see the fat kid. And if you want me to be honest, when I'm not around anybody and I feel that way, sometimes a tear does come out, a manly tear. I'm getting a little teary-eyed because the biggest insecurity, I have a picture of myself before I started working out super heavy. And I was sucking in. I was on a vacation in Florida. And I was sucking in. And that was, it was a very hard part to accept and talk about right now, because I've always prided myself in never burdening people with those emotions. But I think this topic works well for it. The self-esteem hit that before I started working out, I've always had this very bullish mentality of trying to, before I met my girlfriend, bullish mentality of like asking girls for their number. I mean, freshman year, I think it was like the 3rd day into school, and I was in a different district, right? Because I was in an agriculture program. I saw this cute girl, and I literally went up there to ask for her number. I'd never even talked to her before. It was kind of badass, but I give anxiety, social anxiety. But I was fat and ugly, to be honest. Let's just be honest. I hadn't hit puberty hard yet. And I was overweight and weird and quiet and awkward. So I guess a snapshot of me, I'm still weird and I'm still kind of funky looking, but I have a mustache now, so it evens out, like I could be butt ugly, but as long as I have a decent mustache, it covers up more of the face. I'm just kidding, guys. But yes, I struggled with self-esteem a lot. I hated looking myself in the mirror. I never took my shirt off at a pool, any pools, especially when I started gaining more weight at that young age before I started working out. And it was really what got me working out was I really liked this girl throughout high school, and I wanted to get in shape so that I could try to impress her. It was a very bad way of thinking about it. And to all my friends who knew me from high school, they probably can tell me who that girl is, right? But it inspired me because I was like, oh shit, like I got to level up my game. And I was like behind. I was in negative numbers, right? So it started me on my journey. I would run, and I didn't know anything about lifting. Nobody in my family knew anything about lifting or nutrition or working out. And looking back at it, I wish I started working out when I hit while I was hitting puberty, because damn, I would have freaking had like almost like steroid gains. I think that's why kids are so huge young, because they're working out earlier, and they're in such an anabolic state due to the hormone spikes of fucking puberty that they're able to gain more muscle mass. But anyway, I started working out, and I noticed real quickly that my confidence increased. And it's still, again, it's really have taken me a very long time to not have that self disgust. I think in this past year, I finally accepted that it's okay to dislike your personal situation when it comes to your fitness, but it's not okay to hate yourself. But throughout my entire life, I've always hated how I looked, self-esteem wise. I always thought, I was like, I'm fat and ugly and goofy looking. I still am again, but mustache. But let's not keep harkening on this. Throughout high school, I started that journey, right? I would do push-ups and sit-ups, and I didn't know anything. Fast forward to a year after high school, I graduated in 2017. I want to join the United States Marine Corps. And we know that story, right? That I couldn't get in medically. And eventually I got into the Air National Guard, the Air Force. But the perspective that shift, I noticed that as soon as I started, I enrolled at the gym that I work at part-time now, actually. I got a pre-order membership back when they were opening up in the same town, the same place that I work now, actually. So all you folks who go to the Bristol Edge, right? I got a pre-order membership. And I remember working out hard, and I remember that was the first time that I ever decided that I wanted to get fit for myself. I was dating this girl at the time, kind of. It was weird. And I really, really liked her, right? And it wasn't for her, though. I realized that as a man, if I want to be valuable, I have to do things for myself and build myself up, right? Not in that selfish way of like, do things for myself, but like, do things to become a better person for the people around me, right? For my family and my friends and everybody, right? In fitness, you're thinking, well, that's a self thing. Yes. But like, if I'm healthier, right? That just means you're going to be there longer for your friends and family, right? Hopefully blessed, if you're blessed by the good man upstairs. But that is the one thing we can control, right? We can't control genetic issues or a car crash or some crazy condition or something happening, but we can control our fitness. So that's how I figured. I said I need to be strong and capable. So I embarked on that journey, and Jeremy is my brother's name. Wow. Jesus Christ. I think I had a stroke this morning or something, guys. But I embarked on that journey, and I realized I dropped down to the lowest weight I've ever been in my entire life. Like, even after deployment, being probably about 12% body fat at the end of my deployment, I was at 168 to 166, whereas during this initial time in my life, I got down to 158. I think the reason I was able to get down that low is, one, I was walking because I didn't have a car yet. But I was walking to the gym every day, plus my cardio, plus lifting. But I was also working out a shit ton and trying to lose the weight, the baby fat that I had. And so I got down to 158. And I was lean. I had a six-pack, right? I've had a six-pack twice in my life. I'm working on it now, but besides the point. That was the moment, once I started on that journey right there, where I got down to 158, at that point in my life, that was the leanest and the fittest I've ever been. I think arguably I'm probably stronger and fitter right now. But that is what started my journey. Like I said, I didn't have a car at the time. That's what started my journey to get a car. That's what started my journey to start reading books and start trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. Yes, I wanted to join the service, but I always knew that I would have to level up on other pillars of my life. And I didn't really have that articulate way or understanding yet, but I knew that I needed to read books. I needed to build myself up. David Goggins was kind of popping off around 2017, 2018 before he hit big mainstream the past like 1.5 years. I would listen to a lot of David Goggins just because I was a military wannabe for a long time. And I guess maybe I still am a little bit. But like I wanted to join so hard. So I saw this guy who was badass, who was an ex-Navy SEAL. Listened to a lot of him, and just a lot of these, like Alex Hermosi, I don't think I listened to until a little bit later. There was some stuff that he came out with I did listen to, but I was very unsure about him for a while until I just kind of jumped into a podcast of listening to him, and now I'm like a fanatic. But I decided that I need to level up other parts of my life. So that's something I guess we'll get into, from the work ethic wise, right? I realized I needed to do work in other aspects. But what I didn't realize is that fitness gave me the confidence to accept what I wasn't, right? Those insecurities became lesser because I was able to work on them in the gym, right? I was sculpting myself. I was challenging myself. So I felt more capable and confident in who I was. Again, I still struggled. And some days I still do struggle with my confidence, right, overall. But I realized that in that moment, that was a pivotal part of my fitness journey early on my own. I had a personal trainer for about 2 months when I pre-ordered that membership, right? But after that, it was really on my own. Outside of the 30-minute sessions I got once a week, I was working out on my own. I was learning, right? And I've made a lot of stupid mistakes. Luckily, no serious injuries, right? But, it's held back some of my progress in that aspect. But one thing that I can say for certain is that I became a more confident animal and was able, it influenced me, asking for girls' numbers, being able to go out, going out to a beach. When I went to vacation to Puerto Rico with my family, I took my shirt off for the first time and felt confident at the river down the street from where my family lives. I was able to just be more confident. And it wasn't like a conscious thing. It just happened. And I think the reason why is because when you put the work in on yourself, you trust yourself more and you respect yourself. You have self-respect, self-trust that you're going to be reliant at least on that one little aspect of your life when it comes to fitness. You become more confident. And it's no brainer. Why do you think a lot of guys and girls start working out either in high school or shortly after? Because they want to work on that confidence, which is you need to have confidence in life to be successful. So again, that is wide scale of confidence. But let's go into the work ethic. Working out. Really, really, really quick. When you start lifting weights, you realize how little you can do, how weak you actually are. That's why you see a lot of people ego lifting or these these characters in the gym where they have like this bravado, right? Because they realize I ain't strong to do that. And you have this bull or this huge ass, MFer that walks in the door and he's like freaking giant and just can lift 500 pounds out of nothing, right? And that's a warm up for him. But you realize really quick, it humbles you, any sort of fitness, especially martial arts, boxing, especially when I started this in high school. That's what taught me to. It humbles you real fucking quick. So that confidence might boost up, but you're going to be humbled because you realize what you're not capable of yet. But it makes you want to work harder for it. And that's where it gets into my work ethic. I realized real quick that fitness, and when I mean real quick, over the course of months, over the course of that first year, that fitness is one aspect or pillar of your life. But working out isn't the everything, right? And that there's finances, there's academia, there's, social, how good are you at socializing with people, creative pursuits, dreams, aspirations, or spirituality, right? There's everything in life, right? That is a full, pie chart of who we are, right? A full sphere, right, of who we are. And you realize real quick that working out, it's not everything, but it's going to help lead you into building those other aspects. At the very least, you gain confidence enough in the working out aspect world and you have the confidence in knowing what you can do, but you have the confidence and wisdom to know what you're not capable of quite yet. And it gives you this matured look at, okay, I can't lift this weight yet, so what do I need to do to get there? That's what it gave me. It was like, okay, I think the biggest one for me was when I started deadlifting and I could only do like 10 and 25 pounders, right? The first few months. I'm still not a very good, I don't lift very heavily. Like my lower body is significantly weaker than my upper body. And even that, my upper body, I'm not like a power lifter, elite level. Like I don't lift that heavy. My intensity comes from just volume essentially and going at the higher weight, that I personally do, right? My closer to my 1 rep max and then just trying to go as high as volume as I can. And just breaking that intensity and destroying my nervous system in the gym like that. So, again, the mentality that I had to undertake when I started lifting, and I could only lift the bar deadlifting the first few times, right? And I had to work my way up and be strategical. I'm like, okay, I'm still sore from deadlifting. I had to do research. What are the muscles that are engaged during the deadlift? Like, can I train those muscles outside of the deadlift to help me with my deadlifts, right? Is there anything I can import in, right? Any strategy or training that I can import in? And that has leaked into my life because it has allowed me to view a dream or a goal as steps and not just this far away impossible thing, but it's like, it's far away, but what are the 10 steps that I need to get there, right? 10-week program, right? What is the program that I need to get there, the regiment that I need to get there? Because nothing is impossible. It's just you got to break it down in a smarter way, right? So that was a whole thing, right? And like I said, it influenced my work ethic because now that I broke things down, things seem more achievable. So now all it came down to was education, how I got strategized with my training and how I pursued it, right? And to me personally, that is what has changed my entire life with fitness. I have most thoroughly found that working out, lifting a dumbbell has increased my philosophy in life, weirdly enough, because you realize those things, but then you're like, okay, like when I go to the gym and maybe I try to, fist bump a younger kid and he acts rude or the manners, right? That someone might be like, can I work in with you? You're like, okay, or like, maybe the humanity of the big guy coming to the gym and seeing you doing something stupid that you're going to hurt yourself. That happened to me this past Saturday with my buddy, Louie. Louie, you listen to the podcast, I was doing this bicep curl machine that I never do before. It was just right next to the other bicep curl machine. So me and Louie were kind of swapping back and forth between those two machines to get a finisher on our biceps, basically. And this guy, I'm appreciative that he came to me. He's like, dude, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not trying to like make you feel like shit. He's like, but I just want to let you know, like, this is kind of how I do it. And I just don't want you to get injured because if you do it that way, you're kind of risking injury a little bit. And I was like, no, thank you. Like I was extremely appreciative because I don't want to get injured and I'd rather do something that's going to yield better results. But again, fitness has taught me that. It has given me confidence to consistently keep working towards something, right? To consistently figure out what are the steps that I need to take to get there. Fitness as a whole, a lot of people will say fitness is my life or like get really into the identity of fitness, right? Because there's a network, there's a community, right? Of people who like to work out. You don't have to be the most fit. That's a whole nother thing, right? You can find community in the gym. I mean, isn't that what a gym is? It's a club. It's a club of people who like to, work out, like to stress their body and feel like they're fighting a war or chasing down an animal. That's what we do. We're simulating to make sure our bodies stay healthy and strong. And there's a community now more than ever of people that are interested in that. And genuinely, I think that's a whole nother thing, mental health wise. You can find your tribe, right, of people who like to work out, much like the absolutely cosmic tribe, right, of you folks who listen dedicated to this podcast. I just want to do a quick shout out down below. Louie Kyle, Madison, just to name a few people who have been extremely supportive of the podcast in the past few weeks. You guys are excellent because you guys have reached out to me and been like, hey, this episode's excellent. I love that when you said this. Hey, listen, I don't understand what you said this. Hey, can you talk about this? You guys have been giving me more feedback, constructive feedback, and support of the project that we're building, this community that we're building. You guys are the forerunners. And I hope that in the future, as we build more and more members within this community, right? And when I mean members, I mean people who listen, people who are engaged, who love this, who when you buy a shirt and you go to the gym and someone else recognizes that that's from the Absolutely Cosmic, the Cosmic Absolute brand, that you guys will build a bond of people who are trying to be impeccable. We're trying to build just badassery and focused on pursuing your goals and being the best version of yourself. So that's a quick shout out. But again, the mentality of working out, and I'm sure that you guys that I just mentioned can talk about it because, Kyle, dude, you climb trees for a living and then you go lift like a monster. I don't know how you do it, dude. Like when I was working with you guys, I was struggling to go to the gym. And my workouts were dead. Like it would usually be the days off that I put more intensity into my lifts because and I don't know how you do it. You're baking in the sun all day, freaking climbing up those trees, and then you go lift. Madison, you're starting your journey. You've been disciplined as shit, getting your cardio done every day, something I need to work on myself. You're lifting, you're passionate, you're dedicated, you're very, very stubborn in a good way with that. And then Louis, not only did you have the humility to start back up and reach out to me in the way you did, like, dude, you're doing great, man. Like you literally are kicking ass. And I don't know, the things that we talked about like the personal stuff that we talked about on our workout on Saturday, man, which when this podcast comes out, it's probably gonna be a few weeks from then, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, I'm proud of you, man. And I'm proud that your mindset is up there. That motivates me to stay disciplined in all this that I'm trying to do. Because it's like if my boys and my friends, my people, are doing that, then I got to do that and work to be better for them, right? So again, that's what fitness does for you though, right? It makes you want to be better for the people around you. It makes you have more confidence. It makes you manage your stress better, which ultimately leads to better decision making, right? And gives you more time to actually figure out what the fuck you need to do. It also helps you see the world and realizing what you are not, what you're not ready for, what you can't do quite yet, and what steps you need to take and how you can break it down to get there, regardless if it's reading a book, regardless if it's becoming a doctor, right? Working out teaches you that you cannot just go into the gym day one and lift 700 pounds unless you're 8 feet tall and 500 pounds of pure muscle, right? Unless you're a freak anomaly or you grew up on a farm and you already have Viking genetics. You're not going to be able to do that. You need to work up to it, right? You need to take steps into it. And that is the mentality. The greatest thing that I've learned from working out is just having the breakdown and having the mentality of understanding this is what I'm not beating yourself for not beating. Sorry, guys. Not beating yourself up for not being able to do something yet. So again, I want to thank you guys for listening. I genuinely appreciate all the support that I'm getting. We're building. I just checked today. We've got 9 more downloads. Yesterday was 7. Today was 9. We're growing. This is every episode is just growing faster. And I love that because I want to be able to help as many people. I want to be able to spread the knowledge, right? I want to be able to build a community, right? So I want to thank you guys, the base supporters who started this day one, right? Day one, we were already a worldwide phenomenon with India, Pakistan, and Belgium. Just to name a few. United Kingdom were a few of my first episodes a few people watched on my YouTube channel side. That's phenomenal. So I want to say I'm appreciative of you guys. Again, thank you. Thank you, everybody. So, without further ado, if you guys are looking to join a worldwide community of impeccable individuals trying to become the best version of themselves, oh boy. So, without further ado, this has been the Absolutely Cosmic Podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Salgado. And if you're looking to be part of a worldwide community of impeccable individuals on their journey to become the greatest version of themselves, please do consider subscribing and sharing this with a friend. Whatever platform you're on, share this episode that you're listening to or your favorite episode that has helped you out the most. Because I think that is the key to truly growing, is sharing your knowledge and wisdom with other people. Thank you guys. Thank you for listening. God bless America. I'm highly caffeinated right now, as you can tell. Peace. What the hell?
Thank you for listening. Consider absolutely smashing the subscribe button for more content like this.